Good afternoon. Welcome to the DLC's webinar, Controls Options Tables Explained, what SSL v6 and Luna v2 require and why it matters. My name is Jason Jeanette. I'm a technical manager here at the DLC, and I'll be your host today. As we get started, just to note that slides and the recording of this webinar will be posted on the DLC News and Events page, and everybody is automatically muted. If you have any questions for us to answer during the live Q&A at the end of the presentation, please submit them in the question pane in your window. The DLC is an independent nonprofit organization. We provide decision makers with data and resources on quality lighting and controls and integrated building systems with the goal to reduce energy, carbon, and light pollution. Our objectives for this webinar is to give an overview of the SSL v6 technical requirements, controls requirements, including controls categories, controls options tables, submission pathways, as well as review timeline, and then leave some time for questions at the end. A quick overview, the goal of the controllability sections of the SSL T6 and Luna v2 technical requirements is to support more incentives for products with integral controls. To do this, we've introduced controls categories and controls options tables. And to explain all this, I'm going to kind of back up just a little bit. Controls measures for energy efficiency programs are governed by technical resource manuals. So these are usually giant, almost 1,000-page documents that describe all of the energy savings measures that are available for incentives in a given area. These include controls measures, and most of these controls measures are define a percentage savings factor or control savings factor based on the control function involved. So you can see a fixture with an occupant sensor on board will save an average of 25% of energy, going all the way up to a product with a luminaire level lighting controls that has on average a 58% savings factor. So to simplify all of this, we have moved to controls categories. So a controls category is assigned to a particular controls option with a product. These categories range from category 0, which is a product with no integral controls on board. Category 1 is a product we're calling controls ready, which means that the control function can be added after installation without modifying the fixture or adding new materials. Category 2 is a product with a non-DLC listed network lighting controller on board. Category 3A is a product with an integral occupancy or traffic sensor function only. 3B is a product with an integral daylight or sensor function only. So this is one function on board. Category 4A is a product with an occupancy or traffic sensor and a daylight or photocell integral sensor on board. 4B is limited to outdoor products. It's a product with a traffic or photocell and the ability to do part night dim, all on board. Category 5 is a product with a DLC NLC QPL listed network controller. So that system that network controller speaks with is listed on the NLC QPL. And category 6 is a product with a DLC listed DLC NLC QPL listed network controller and 2 or more integral sensor functions. This is popularly known as luminaire level lighting controls. Just one note, new 4v6 is that in order to qualify as a premium listed product, a product must fall into categories 1 through 6. So a base level product with no integral control capabilities on board does not qualify for premium. Okay, so we've got kind of our directional arrow. We're going a little backwards. So we've talked about the utility savings control savings factors and the controls categories. Then the next thing we're going to talk about are the controls options tables and how they relate to manufacturers' controls option codes. So here is an example of a controls options table. So you can see The columns are various attributes about the controls capabilities of a specific product, and a row represents a specific controls option or controls variation available for the product. To start, there's my build. We're going to go through this controls options code ABCD. So that's just an example code. A product ordered with that code has a 0 to 10 volt driver, capable of continuous dimming down to 10% minimum dimming level. This product also has a Bluetooth NLC capable wireless controller on board. So it's a networked product. There are no controls receptacles on there, so it is not considered controls ready. This product has an integral sensor function of occupancy and daylight. So it has both a network controller and sensors on board. The sensor particularly uses PIR technology, has a maximum mounting height of 20 feet, and is associated with a DLC listed NLC QPL. NLC QPL listed system. That's a mouthful. This particular product also does not have any controls ready accessory model numbers associated with it. That's an optional thing. It doesn't have any receptacles, so it doesn't need a model number. So this particular product variation evaluates out to controls category 6. So that would qualify as a luminaire level lighting control product. Now, the way that all of this will show on the QPL is in kind of two different ways. We are enabling the ability to search for a specific model number. The use case here is that an incentive applicant submits an invoice to a incentive program, and the staff of that incentive program then copies the model number off that invoice, puts it in the QPL, and searches for it. And so we find the listing, and then the QPL is going to take and discover the controls option code from that model number and return the controls category that's associated with that controls option code. Then if the user needs more detail, they'll be able to open up the product detail page and see all of the available controls options that are available with that particular listing. How does this all work? It's all based on these controls options codes. So a controls option code is a portion of a model number that represents a specific controls configuration. These are usually found on spec sheets. A product may have no configuration possibilities, in which case the controls options code is blank, or it may have a whole bunch of them. It really depends on the particular product offering from a particular manufacturer. So how do we figure out controls options codes? There are a couple variations in here. The bottom line is if there are multiple driver options available with a product, then the code for those driver options is included in the controls option code. If there's only one driver available, and that's a default, you don't have to include it. But if there are multiple drivers available, you do have to include it, as well as some model number configurations have non-controlled attributes that fall in between the driver and integral controls. So those non-control attributes are allowed to be wildcarded. And the example works out here. The manufacturer can pick a couple ways that they would like to wildcard that. So in this case, we have driver codes. There are three possible drivers available with this product. There are 4 mounting conditions available with this product and 3 integral controls options available. Now, the mounting is not part of controls, so those can be wildcarded. The user or the manufacturer can choose to wildcard that either by saying bracket mounting or bracket XXX as they like. So in this case, this configuration comes out to 9 different controls options codes for these 3 driver and 3 integral controls options. I'm happy to take more questions about this, or if you have any questions, please reach out to controls@designlights.org. I can help you with your specific situation. Another thing to know is that part of the policy is we are restricting the listing capabilities of products with 3-pin twist lock receptacles. So in general, products with 3-pin twist lock receptacles are not eligible for listing. The reason for this is that these products do not have an upgrade path to add a dimming controller after installation. The way this will be implemented is that any controls options code that represents a twist lock receptacle, even if it comes with a photocell installed, will be assumed to be 3-pin unless otherwise indicated on the spec sheet. So if your default configuration is 3-pin, we're going to do that. If you have other options, make sure you say somewhere on your spec sheet that it's a 5-pin or a 7-pin, or it's going to get rejected. There's one exception to this rule where we will allow a 3-pin twist lock receptacle into the list. This is a situation where a luminaire has both a 3-pin twist lock receptacle and an integral sensor on board. So this is a scenario where the 3-pin twist lock usually has a photocell in it that does on-off, and then the sensor, usually mounted on the bottom, does motion and some dimming. The caveat to this is that an integral sensor must be ordered as part of the model number. If a product, or if the base version of the product has a 3-pin twist lock on the top, and then another receptacle type into which an integral sensor can be added, the version that does not have that, the version that does not come with the sensor is not able to be listed. Again, if you have specific questions about this, please reach out to me. Okay, there are 2 submission pathways for submitting this information. At the brand level and at the family level. And I'll go through what these mean. So a brand level controls option table is used when a single controls options code represents the same configuration of options for all products sold under one brand name. So in that case, if you use /XYZ to mean the same thing across all of your products, you only have to submit it once. Couple rules on that. Each code on a brand level table must be unique across the whole brand. This process, these are approved outside of the submission process. And then when you submit a product for listing, you'll reference those tables in your reported performance table, and I'll go through how that works. Brand level controls options tables are emailed directly to me at controls@designlines.org. Please include spec sheets that have the details for all these so I can double check everything. And then they get submitted and you can reference them in your applications. The other pathway is for family level controls option tables. These are submitted with each application. It's another tab in the standard application file. Any configuration that is the default that has no controls options code or what we're calling blank are submitted there. So that means the base configuration is going to be different for each family. So if it's a blank, submit it under the family level. Also, if you have a situation where you use the same code, so say /ABC means a specific set of attributes for one family, but that same code means a different set of attributes for a different family, then you would submit those under the family level codes so that they can represent different things. If they go on the brand level, then we're going to have confusion and the data model doesn't work. The family level controls options tables are reviewed during the listing process. So you submit them with the reported performance table. And I'm going to show you the difference between those two right now. So here is an example of a brand level table. It has this green at the top. You're submitting the manufacturer and the brand, as well as the controls options code, and then all the various attributes for that particular product. So this one, this is my made-up company called Controllerly. The code is /CIGS. It stands for a product with a 0-10 volt driver, a Bluetooth chip in it, is capable of occupancy and daylight sensing using passive infrared, has a max mounting height of 40 feet, and connects to a fictional NLC listed system. The family level controls options table is in the application spreadsheet. So here's another tab. In this particular one, we're going to look at the blank code for this same family of products. And the blank one, this comes with the 0 to 10 volt connection or driver, continues to mean at 5%, but then no other control options on board. So then on the reported performance table, this is for a high bay luminaire. We've got our luminaires, we've got our different model numbers for that, and then we have the controls options codes that are referenced for each row. So in this case, we're referencing the blank controls options code from the family level controls options table, as well as /CIG and /CIGS from the brand level controls option table. So eventually we'll get to the point where all of the controls options codes, or most of them, are in unless a new configuration is added. And then when you're listing things, you just need to reference them on the main table or the reported performance table, and our system will know what that means and move on. All right, coming back to our presentation. Okay, another aspect of controls in version 6 is for products that are claiming a connection to a NLC QPL listed system. So this is a network system. We need to make sure that we can confirm that the luminaire manufacturer has a business relationship with the NLC manufacturer. This is only required when the NLC manufacturer is a third party. So if you make and list your own products, both luminaires and controls, don't worry. But if you are a luminaire manufacturer and you include a controller from a third party NLC system, we just want to make sure that you are actually authorized to do that. So there is a manufacturer agreement. This is a link in the portal. So as the luminaire manufacturer, you would create a new agreement for each NLC manufacturer you work with. You select your name, select their name, put in the name of the person responsible for signing from the NLC manufacturer and their email, and then our system will send out an email to that person to get them to sign it. One caveat is that everybody involved in this needs to have a MyDLC account associated with the correct organization names. So the person at the NLC manufacturer that this goes to needs to have an account with their email address associated with that NLC manufacturer in our system. If you have any questions about how to make that happen, please reach out and we will let you know. Okay, overall review process and timelines for all of this stuff. It's the brand level controls options tables. So I'm actively reviewing them as they come in. We have a 90-day review deadline for those. Right now we're at, based on volume, we're at about 2 weeks at most. Then for the family level controls options tables, those go in with application. The non-controls review proceeds according to the normal timeline. The review of the controls aspect begins once the product is published to the QPL. So after the whole process of standard review, then it goes over to me and I take a look at the controls. And then from there, we've got 90 days for controls review from publishing. At which point, if the product doesn't pass or the controls, we haven't heard from the manufacturer, then that product will get removed from the list. So we'll have to vote there. We got some time. We haven't gotten to that point yet, and I hope we don't. Okay. That was an overview of what we got. So we talked about the V6 controls categories, the controls options tables, as well as the submission pathways and review timelines. So, anybody have any questions? Aaron's going to help me out with this. Wow, no questions at all? We've got 60 people in here. Nobody has any questions?
Oh, while we're waiting for the questions to come in, I know it's sometimes drinking from a fire hose on some of this. We did one clarification on the controls options table for the family level. In that example, you were showing with the blank and the minimum dim level. Just a clarification, including that as just the numeric without the percent will be best
Yes,
for
thank you.
intake. Certainly.
There, I'll fix that right now. I didn't fix that. Anyway, it's percentage. You don't need to put the, it says, yeah, just put the digit in.
And then Jason, there was a question on, can you elaborate a bit more on how you define continuous dimming?
Yes, so continuous dimming, the definition of that I think mostly comes from the SSL QPL, but it is defined as 100 or more steps between maximum output and 0. It's a little bit thing. The idea is that we're looking for the experience of standing under a product that is dimming or has continuous dimming, so that it looks smooth. We don't want to see jumps.
Thank you, Jason. There was a question on regarding the 3-pin twist lock and photo cell. If it will be eligible for a product to be listed with a 3-pin photo control as standard if it is installed inside a 5 or 7-pin receptacle.
Yes, absolutely, because that means that there is a upgrade path for that product to add a dimming controller later on, but that does not need to come with it immediately. We have a suggestion to add some example of common issues we've seen on submissions thus far. Honestly, the main hiccup we've seen on submissions so far has been just the process of figuring out the various controls option codes. Like, what are all the permutations of the options available on a spreadsheet? And then once we've got that, it's a pretty straightforward to go fill in the attributes for those. And like I said, if you have any questions on that, please reach out to me and send me a spec sheet, and I'm happy to help. I'm going to go. So I have a question about can a product family pull from both the brand level table and the application level if it has options not covered by the brand level table? Yes, absolutely. The point of the brand level table is so that you guys don't have to submit and we don't have to keep reviewing the same option over and over again. So that's an efficiency thing, but yes, please do pull from both types of tables, because once it's reviewed in our system, it's all one table, basically. We had another question about brand level tables need to be approved before using those in a product application. They do not, actually. So you can put them in once we get to the application, and if there are more codes referenced on the reported performance table, then show up in the controls options table for that application. We'll say, oh yeah, those are brand levels. It'll come to me. So because the controls review is happening later on, just go ahead and submit, and we'll catch up.
And a quick just clarification on that note regarding the brand level. When you do submit that, they will get reviewed afterwards, but for the system to accept it, include it there, and then you can work with Jason to get that added as your brand level. And there was some similar question on 3-pin. And thank you all for sending in these specific questions. For fixtures that only have a 3-pin twist lock, but have a separate receptacle for instance, a screw-in, for example. I believe, Jason, you talked about this in particular. So this is where there's a 3-pin twist lock and another receptacle.
Right. So in that case, if the sensor or network controller that goes into that other port is ordered with the fixture, then yes, that qualifies. But if there's a variation where that piece does not come with that, so you get basically 2 open receptacles, then that particular variation does not qualify. So our we had a question about during this fixture submission process, is it necessary to fill out the controls table tab if the fixtures are referencing the brand level table? No, it is not. So if you're only referencing codes that were submitted on the brand level table, then your controls options table tab on the application can be blank. In general, though, most configurations are going to have a blank that would need to be submitted at the family level. So for the most part, there'll probably just be 1. I don't anticipate many that are 0.
And then there was a question for if there's a code for proprietary controls companies. Not certain if the company name is the question here, or how you would indicate the use of a proprietary control.
I'm guessing that is about a proprietary controls like network protocol for whatever the protocol is that the devices on the network use to speak to each other. So that would go into the integral sensor or controller communication column for the controls options code associated with that particular system. So say Aaron made a control company and the controls options code for a piece with that in there was, AAF. Then the drop-down selection for the integral sensor or controller communication method, or integral sensor or controller type cell in that row would be, wireless proprietary or whatever that is. The key there is that we're looking at the difference between a network that is allows third-party products to join the network, say like a Wi-Fi. So like a Wi-Fi network, I can basically bring any device, any Wi-Fi device, and if I have the password for that network, I can join it. But there's some networks where even if you have the password to join the network, a device from a third-party company is just not able to do it. Even if it uses the same protocol, it's just not, the system won't allow it on there.
Thanks, Jason. Another question that's pertinent for the controls options table and controls generally. Are they only applicable to certain application types, or do they only apply to, for example, non-simplified applications?
No, they apply to all applications. So we need these control information for all products.
Thank you. And there's another question on who do we work with on the approval process?
Gonna need, I think. I'm gonna take that conversation offline and I'll reach out to that questioner. Anybody else? I tried to talk really slow and we're still going fast.
One question regarding the submission of the application and the family level controls information uh, and the controls category. Um, and you had a slide where you noted the controls category is assigned by DLC. Can you just talk to that one more time as we're, some submitters are including the controls category as the controls options code.
Right. So as Aaron said, the controls category is assigned by us, and that is based on a various combination of attributes that are submitted in the controls options table for each controls option code. So we've got a giant spreadsheet with all the different permutations, and the system looks it up based on this product type has a dolly driver and 2 sensors on board, and it evaluates to Y. So the idea is that we've assigned these, so we're making that connection between the control savings factors from the different controls measures and a specific portion of the manufacturer's model number. So to make that work, we need you guys to submit those controls portions of your model numbers and specific attributes about them so that we can make those connections.
Thank you, Jason.
One of the big things that the controls categories do for the energy efficiency programs is it does make that connection between a sometimes 20 character text string and what the capabilities are for a product with that capability on board. And this is something that the programs don't really have the expertise to do, and it's been a barrier to them offering more incentives to for controls products with controls in them because it's just a lot of overhead. Do one more question. We had a question about how the code's being maintained. In this case, if the attributes of a code changes, then we can update that. For if a manufacturer is, say, offering a particular product with a code from a certain manufacturer, and then that manufacturer goes out of business, or the luminaire manufacturer decides to change to a different one. The idea is to keep that listing on the table so that as those products are growing through the channel and getting installed in programs, there's a lag there. So we don't want to remove a specific controls options code prematurely. If that product is not available in the market anymore, nobody's going to be searching for that specific one. Where it gets a little hairy is if a manufacturer changes the meaning of a specific code. So if there's a code 1234 means a system from manufacturer A for a while, and then that same code means changes to something from manufacturer B, that becomes a little hairy. At the same time, that's also a little hairy internally for that luminaire manufacturer. So I'm hoping that we can avoid that situation because we're kind of aligned on that, where if you guys change the meanings of what a specific controls options code means internally, then you've got to track it as well on that. So I hope I'm happy to talk more about that if there are any things. I had one more question on lighting application, which is lighting for good level mean. I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna have to follow up with you and see what some a little more context, because I'm not sure where that is. All right.
Jason,
Unless
yeah,
Aaron
we
can
can
jump
follow up. We can follow up with that questioner in particular. It is outside of the controls, just one of the
Perfect.
sustainability metrics available in version 6.
Great. All right. Thank you for your questions. Couple more slides. Just review here's the timeline for the SSL v6 and Luna v2 transition. The next couple of things that are important is April 20th is the last day to submit v5.1 or SSL v5.1 and Luna v1.0 applications. And then October 9th is the last day to submit update applications for 5.1 and Luna v1 products to SSL v6 and v2.0. We also had a webinar a couple weeks ago about application processing and fees. So here is a quick QR code if you'd like to review that one. We do have an updated version of the controls options tables guidance document, which this webinar was based on. So that'll be published on the webinar or on the website today, I believe. We also have a bunch of additional resources, some manufacturing industry guidance in general. We are available in open office hours, and you can also email questions to applications@designlights.org. As well, we've got some video tutorials for various topics. We will have another one for this controls topic coming up in the next couple weeks. And if you really want to dive into the details, here's the link to the full technical requirements document. As I said before, this webinar will be available online later this week. You can find it in the news and events and on-demand webinars link. And then finally, up to the last minute announcement that we are having a summit. The DLC Summit 2026 will be this October 26th and 27th in Los Angeles. We'll have more details coming soon, but save the date and please join us there. Thank you all for your time and have a good day.